Good evening, YouTube fam. I'm back. Hope everyone's having a great night. Beautiful out here in my neck of the woods tonight. Hope it's beautiful where you're at. So I had to get on here. I got another funny story. The jokes just keep on writing themselves. So apparently, Kid Rock's restaurant in Nashville, Tennessee, has been temporarily closed due to an ice sweep happening around the area. So apparently, ice is going around to the bars and restaurants and doing sweeps and taking in undocumented folks. Well, anyhow, reports have come in breaking in the past hour that last night around 9:30 p.m., the manager of Kid Rock's bar in Nashville told employees, anybody here undocumented, go home now because there's ice and they've been doing a sweep and they didn't want to lose any of their employees. Kind of ironic there, Kid Rock. Also, they were saying how they were having trouble trying to find people to work the jobs. And that was kind of their excuse of why they were warning the workers who were undocumented to go home last night at 9:30 p.m., according to reports. The old added song, didn't know the lepers would eat my face. This is your classic example right here. People think because they've got one point of view or another, they're immune from the consequences of having people working there undocumented. But truth be known, undocumented people make up a large amount of the farm work, the restaurant business, and landscaping businesses, construction businesses all across this country. I don't care what political side you stand on. These are just facts. I remember hearing a story up in Ohio about this place that was hiring a few years back. And a bunch of people had come in through the area from Syria during the war. And they come to this town in Ohio, and they're basically the only people who work at this one plant in Ohio, because the guy who managed the plant said that most of the Americans who came in there to get jobs were too high on pills, on drugs. So they couldn't be hired. And so they ended up hiring a bunch of these guys from Syria because they said that these guys weren't getting high. They didn't complain. They came to work and they went home. And in my opinion, and not just my opinion, but from my experience, that's how it's been with most people that I've worked with who weren't from America. They didn't really have a whole lot of excuses all the time. They worked, they minded their business, and they went home. That's just the reality of the world we live in. Unfortunately, too many people want to be the chief, and they don't want to work as the Indian. They want to be the big boss man on day one, and they don't want to work their way up to a specific spot in the company. And I've seen that time and time again. And then they sit there and they make excuses for why it didn't work out with them in the company, or have their own point of view on, why they basically walked out of an opportunity that if they would have worked, a few years at, could have made more money, had health insurance, all that other stuff, but they chose not to. They chose to make excuses about it and then blame other people. So, Kid Rock's FO right now, along with other people, not just him, who voted for Trump, and now they're complaining because people don't want to work those jobs. Americans especially, they don't want to work those kind of jobs. And the problem is, those same people will complain about the people being here willing to do those jobs. So it's a double-edged sword. It's a catch-22. You know, it's like running around in a hamster wheel trying to get out of it and find a new result. You know, Einstein said that if you repeatedly do things expecting the same result, that's the definition of insanity. And that seems to be what a lot of people do. They do the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result, and the same thing happens, and then they make excuses, and they point fingers at other people. And that's unfortunate, when they should look in the mirror and take responsibility for their own actions instead of blaming others for the result of their own doing. And Kid Rock's kind of finding that out right now, you know? He sits there and, oh yeah, throw everybody out of here. Now he's telling his management, and his management's telling the employees that work there that are undocumented, go home because ICE is around here and we don't want to lose you guys as employees. You know, you can't have your cake and eat it too. There's got to be some kind of compromise no matter what. Anyhow, guys, that's my 2 cents. I might be back on here later on today, depending on what kind of clown show shit ends up hitting the news in the next half an hour to hour. Because with this administration, it's 24/7. So, like I said earlier, guys, please like, share, and subscribe. It helps the channel out a lot. I appreciate you guys. Channel's growing slowly. We're getting there little by little. I hope you guys enjoy the content. And for others that just come on here to see my point of view, thanks for coming on here as well. Have a great night, and I'll talk to you soon. Take care of yourself.